guys tried this new Coke also? This spiced Coca-Cola? Kind of weird. I don't know if I like it. Welcome back, everybody. My name's Rachel, and this is my book club. Today, we are going to be talking about Jennette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. This book was released in 2020, and it follows Jennette's journey through child stardom, abuse, addiction, and eating disorders. Now, from clothing lines to perfumes and fast food restaurants, I always kind of lumped books in with other branding and kind of cash grabs from celebrities. So I've never been overly interested in reading celebrity books. It wasn't until one of my friends specifically told me that I really should read it that I gave in. And I think being older now really helps, kind of diving into now my adult reading, I think made it a lot better too. And I did really enjoy this book. Now, the traumas of child stardom are not unheard of. In recent years, it has become more and more common for child actors, usually Disney kids, to come forward about their experiences as child stars. As you may know, child stardom is often the product of an exploitative production process. You have this terrible weight for child stars that as long as they continue doing what they're told, that they will have a long-term career in acting and fame and fortune and an assurance of financial stability for both themselves and their family. And there's a lot of examples of this happening with child stars. In 2021, we all watched as Britney Spears fought to end her conservatorship. And back in 2006, Macaulay Culkin released his memoir outlining abuse from his parents, as well as millions of dollars that they stole from his fame for themselves. And these same ideas very much ring true in Jennette's story as well. We see that her family is financially struggling when they're growing up. And as she rises to fame, not only to please her mother, but to look out for her family, she is expected to continue to give them money. And we see instances later on where she's being bothered to buy them a new fridge. And from the ripe young age of 6, Jennette is expected to be an actress because her mother could not live her dream of being an actress. And so now it's Jennette's turn to go into the spotlight and save their family, essentially. I would like to say that I think many of us can experience trauma in our childhood from our parents' unresolved issues and unresolved mental illnesses. And I think it is often very exasperated in child stars. Jennette's mom very clearly needed help. She was able to manipulate her husband and kids through violent tantrums and crying fits, and she actually teaches Jennette these anorexic behaviors at a really young age also. Jennette's childhood really breeds this kind of codependency and anxiety, and these traits make her an incredible people pleaser, which in turn gives her these kind of small benefits as an actress. She is taking these coping mechanisms that she's learned from dealing with her mom and her mom's manipulation to actually being able to follow direction and being able to please people in the entertainment industry a little bit easier. As her acting career grows, we kind of see her anxiety with that grow as well, because she is trying to be the actress that her mom wants her to be, as well as perform as the actress that her producers and directors want her to be. And as she gets older, her coping mechanisms evolve with her. And even into adulthood, we see Jennette is continually being manipulated and berated by her mom for not being completely perfect. Battling against the weight of her mom's manipulation into her adulthood, she grasps at control in the form of her eating disorders. Throughout Jennette's whole life, we have many instances of her mom being emotionally manipulative, forcing Jennette to become an actress and pushing her into anorexia. And given the title and everything we have read up until this point, it shouldn't be too surprising to think that her mom's passing would actually bring her a sense of relief. But we all know that healing and growing and grieving are not linear processes. And I think it is incredibly brave for Jennette to write about how she struggles to accept that her mom was abusive and her mom was manipulative, because she adored her, she loved her, and she relied on her. And so being able to get past the fact that it was actually an unhealthy relationship shook her whole world. And I think it's really impressive that she was able to articulate that. And being a celebrity really opens up your life and everything you say to scrutiny and to a critical eye. And so to be able to write about all these experiences with not only her family, but also people in the industry, and then put that out there for the world to read, and then continuing to do press and interviews where you're revisiting these very emotional topics, I think really speaks to how far she must have come in that time to be able to not only come to terms with it on paper, but to continually talk about it in interviews and blog posts and on her Instagram. I think that is pretty amazing and is a huge testament to how far she's come. I thought this book was really, really amazing, and I think this book is a great fit for pretty much anyone to read, because not only does she tell these really powerful stories, I think she writes it with a good sense of humor, which makes it a lot more palatable for kind of the horrific things that are happening. And I think if you are okay reading about the topics that she discusses, it's really powerful to see her write about her experiences. It starts off when she's incredibly young, at 6 years old. She is recalling a lot of these stories, and her writing reflects how she was thinking and feeling about those things as a 6-year-old. It seems like it's written very simplistically, but you'll see that as she grows, the writing becomes more complex and her feelings become more convoluted as she is dealing with more and more feelings and emotions and kind of gaining these independent thoughts. You'll see the writing grow with her as that happens. And I think it's really moving to be able to see these stories as she would have experienced them in that moment. I think it's really powerful. Something else that really speaks to how much she must have matured is that she is never placing blame on other people. She even brings in other celebrities, Miranda Cosgrove, Ariana Grande, and they're never the enemy, or they're never the reason that things go right or wrong. They are just people who are there in the story, and she is always writing about how she acts and how she decides and she feels about things without ever actually blaming people outside of herself. Even her mom, she never outwardly blames her for anything. She only says how her mom's actions affected her and how her mom's passing affected her, and it's all fairly neutral. And I think, again, that is a very, very impressive way to be able to reflect on your own situation and past in that way without just dogging on everyone. You know, like after going through something like that, it would be so easy to just put it all onto that person who hurt you, and she doesn't do that. And I think that is actually really, really amazing and incredibly mature. So in conclusion, this book was great. I was very entertained and I really enjoyed getting to read this. Reading some of the things in here were so shocking. There were times where I could feel my own secondhand anxiety building up, and I would have to stop reading. I would have to pause and come back to it. And that's how you know it's written really well, is I was really feeling the things that I think she wanted us to feel as readers. And so if you have not picked up this book, if you are okay with reading about kind of abuse and eating disorders and things of that nature, then this is a great read for you. It is really good. And it's very powerful and it's very moving. And I am just happy that she shared her story with us because it's incredible. And after reading this book and kind of looking for ideas of what to talk about for this video, I was kind of considering doing a separate video on child stars, because I started going down a rabbit hole of child stars who have now come forward about their experiences, and I kind of want to look more into that. If you guys would be interested in seeing that, let me know. If you've read any other good memoirs recently, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to add me on Goodreads so I can see what you're reading, and I'll see y'all next time. And her boyfriend thinks he's like the second coming of Christ? Like, come on, man. I got my own mental health to worry about.